Good evening and welcome to Freedom is a Constant Struggle with your host Kilu Nyasha and engineer Stephen Leader. Tonight I am delighted to bring you one of my favorite guests who's been here more than a few times, Pierre Labossiere, who's a Haitian activist, who is one of the co-founders of the Haiti Action Committee and longtime supporter of Famille Lavalas, the party of President Jean-Bertrand Aristide, who is in exile currently behind a coup d'etat in 2004. He's currently in exile in South Africa. Welcome, Pierre. It's so good to have you back.
Thank you, Kilo. As usual, a great pleasure to be with you, my sister.
Right. And we were together just last night.
Yes.
At a demonstration that was held in front of the Brazilian consulate at 300 Montgomery, to protest the lack of investigation of the kidnapping of human rights activist Lovinsky Pierre-Antoine. Will you talk about who Lovinsky is and why we were protesting?
Yes, Lovinsky is a human rights activist, as you mentioned, and grassroots leader, very involved in the struggle for justice and democracy in Haiti. For decades now, he's been very active. And so on August 12, 2007, as he was leaving a meeting with a delegation, a U.S.-Canadian delegation, human rights delegation visiting Haiti, he was kidnapped. And to this day, no one has ever heard from him since. And so this August 12th is the second anniversary of his kidnapping. And so people in Haiti, members of his organization, Fondation 30 Septembre, 30th of September Foundation, and people in several cities in the world, in Los Angeles, in London, England, Port-au-Prince, Haiti, of course, kicked it off, and these were solidarity demonstrations with them, with the people in Port-au-Prince, and in Guyana also the Red Thread organization launched that to protest the lack of action on this kidnapping, and the fact that the UN authorities, which the UN occupation forces and the UN authorities that presently occupy Haiti, have not carried out any investigation, have not shown any kind of concern, and the Haitian authorities as well, under the government of President Preval. Lovinsky is very well known to them and to all these authorities. And Lovinsky is a man who was, his concern is very concerned about children, about women, men, people who are suffering, victims of abuse. The organization that he heads is the Fondation 30 Septembre, 30th of September Foundation, and it was named after the first coup d'etat against President Aristide.
Which was 30th September 1991?
1991. It lasted 3 years and it made over 5,000 victims. And so this organization is an organization of victims of that coup, and they were demanding, fighting for justice, and demanding that the perpetrators be brought to justice and that the victims be compensated. Also added to that are victims of the most recent coup in Haiti, which was the kidnapping coup d'etat of President Aristide in 2004, which also the number of victims is estimated as being over 10,000. And so that organization, September 30th, every week they have a weekly vigil at the Plaza of the Martyrs, and demanding investigation, demanding that the perpetrators be brought to justice, and the perpetrators are all well known to everyone. Yet they roam the streets, no one is in jail. The people who are filling the jails in Haiti right now are supporters of Famille Lavalas. Some of them have been in jail from the day of the coup d'etat. One man in particular.
The latest coup d'etat, 2004.
The latest coup d'etat, 2004.
Right.
Under horrible conditions. Horrible conditions.
Oh, yes. I remember Jean-Just, Father Jerry, described the conditions when I interviewed him some years ago. The late Father Gérard Jean-Just, who was imprisoned in those horrendous conditions, and he described how you couldn't lie down. they were so crowded they had to take turns lying down to get some sleep, and
Precisely.
they had a bucket for a restroom.
Precisely.
To put it delicately. It was horrible. And the food, of course, is. I think they don't even feed you. The food has to be brought from outside, and if you don't get any, you're just SOL. Is that right?
Actually, they do feed people, but it's such poor quality that many people suffer all kinds of lack of vitamins, all kinds of illness that are nutritionally related.
Right.
And the conditions you describe are horrendous. And the thing is that the UN, the United Nations Occupation Forces, the UN authorities, the premier human rights organization in the world, they are in charge of the prisons, even though they hide behind the Haitian government to say, well, Haitian authorities, but it's there. They have the mandate. They are occupying Haiti. They are the ones with all those monies and those resources. So they and the Haitian authorities are in full control. So you would expect model prisons and where people would be decently fed.
Decent prisons.
Decent prisons, exactly. And so it's horrendous. So Lovinsky was fighting against these injustices, exposing all of that. And also he created a center for young women who were being, because of the horrendous economic conditions under which the people are live, many young women, young girls are forced into prostitution.
Of course.
So, and this has
everywhere.
been, exactly. So
abject poverty.
He had founded a program to deal with these issues and to welcome those young women and to give them, get them some help, assistance.
I remember when he came to the States to speak. I remember him. And I feel so badly for his wife and children. He has how many children?
He has 2 children and his wife.
I know, and they must be crazy with
it's terrible for the family. It's terrible. And Kilo, they have everyone they have written to. The Haitian authorities, people at the UN, particularly the spokeswoman of the UN, Michelle Montas, the widow of Jean-Dominique, who knows Lovinsky very well, because Lovinsky was out there defending her husband, fighting for him when they assassinated her husband. And she knows the family. She has not responded to their plea. And President Preval also knows the family. So many who remain shamefully silent. It's an outrage.
I want to share a portion of a piece I read in the New York Times today, just to show our viewers how mendacious the American press is. The so-called best of our press, the New York Times. Quote, in February